We're live. Welcome back to the press box. Let's get it. This college, NFL. I'm all over the place. Anyway, this NFL weekend was crazy, absolutely crazy. We got 70-point games. Teams that we think are tanking are winning football games against the Cowboys. There's such a plethora of stuff that I want us to talk about today in terms of the NFL space. First things first, Hermayes, Go, Hermayes MR, Terry, IDWC, Avion Plummer, Cobra, Son of Radish. Shout out to our gold members here at Players Choice. And if you want to be a part of Players Choice community, all the information that you need is below. And with that, let's get right into it. Let's not waste no time here. And we sorry for the late startup. We had a business meeting, so first things first. Let's just get into it. Speaking of 70 points, the Dolphins hung 70 points on the Broncos, 3 points away. They were a field goal away from breaking the record for most points scored in an NFL game. This, which leads me in two questions, because for me, y'all, and Bama, y'all, actually all three of y'all know this. 70 points in the NFL is absolutely crazy. Not like a little problem, huge problem. And before I let y'all go, I just want to give y'all my quick thoughts on it. So to me, this is more about Denver than it is about Miami, because I think Miami, they have that type of offense that can score 70 points. You know what I'm saying? The way Mike McDaniels runs the show, the way Tua is. I mean, listen, the six fastest clock players in the league this year in a game, 6 of them were all on the 6 fastest times are all by Miami Dolphins players. To me, this was more about Denver because, one, the defense that everybody talked about last year as being this phenomenal defense, they went out there and gave up 70 points. So how is the fall off from a year ago so drastic that you give up 70 points in a game? My other thing about this is stop talking in the media like you the shit and your team's 0-3. So for me, Sean Payton going into the year, he talked about how bad Hackett was. And don't get me wrong, Nathaniel Hackett is over there screwing my Jets over offense, screwing us over. Zach Wilson is bad, but that's a whole different thing. But he had a lot of shots to say about how things were ran in Denver. And so for him to be so high and mighty in the way that he spoke and to come up here, you're 0-3, and then you've given up the second highest point total in NFL history. So my question is to Sean Payton is, one, are you ready for today's era of football? Or is the shit, or has it passed you by? And the other question is for Sean Payton is, you need to look in the mirror, because I want to ask you this. If any other coach goes out and gives up 70 points, more times than not, they'd probably be fired on the spot. Guys are getting fired. People are being moved. So with that being said, I would love to hear your thoughts on the Dolphins versus the Broncos. And was this more about the Broncos or was this more about Miami?
I guess I can go first if you guys don't mind. I also agree with you, J-Rob. It's more about the Broncos than the Dolphins. But if you want to talk about an early magnum opus kind of game by a young coach, Mike McDaniel was in his bag yesterday. Like, even early, like on that first drive, they find Tyreek Hill wide. I think the greatest thing about Mike McDaniel is how he finds ways to get his athletes in space and then just lets them cook from there. To get Tyreek Hill that wide open and he's gone, just showing that it was never like what's the word? It was never even a contest. It felt like it was never a contest from the beginning. And obviously, I don't know the running back. Obviously, maybe J. Rob, since you're really big into college football, I don't know the running back, but obviously,
Devon Achane. He played at Texas A&M. He went to A&M.
I know he turned heads at the combine with his 40 and other things, but it's crazy that he was just that dominant. And I know a lot of people were saying JT should go to the Dolphins, but looking at what they got in the backfield, they don't need him. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a look in a game. This right here, those questions that you asked about Sean Payton. Obviously, we had an argument with Mookie yesterday about, because you know how he feels about Sean Payton. If the game's already passed him by like that, that's horrific, J-Rob. If the game's already passed him by like that, and he's an offensive guru, he's his thing is offense. If the game's already passed him by, then why even keep him around at the end of the season if you know that, other than just his reputation?
Well, I mean, that's why they brought him in, though. They brought him in due to his reputation. And the only reason I'm so harsh on Sean Payton is because I've watched him for the last year be on television talking about what every other team needs to do in order to win football games, what every other coach is not doing to win football games. He goes up there, he's with Colin Cowherd, gallivanting and talking about this and talking about that. But then you go out there and your defense gives up 70 points. And listen, everybody looked at Sean Payton like he was the Drew Brees whisperer, and it might be more credit to Drew Brees than it is to Sean Payton, because let's also remember, now let's start to look at the facts here. All these Saints fans talk to me about how bad them Saints defenses was back in the day. Well, I see one common denominator between the bad defense and the Saints and this bad defense I'm seeing in Denver. And that's the guy with the headset on the sideline named Sean Payton. So there's starting to need to be some real clear, you have to put him into the fire. Go ahead, DP.
My bad. Somebody was calling my stuff and went out. But yeah, man, this is 100% on the Broncos. 100%. This has nothing to do with how fast any Dolphins players are. This has nothing to do with how good a play calling is, bro. There shouldn't even be enough time with how the clock is run in the NFL to get 70 points on you. Mind you, 70 points with backups in and 9 minutes still remaining in the game. That has nothing to do, like, mind you, like some of those fast players were already out the game as they were still scoring. Like, that has everything to do with the culture of the locker room, the defense, the scheme, and everything else. We're saying, 70 points is a lot in the NFL. That's a lot in college football, right? Like, even with that, we see 70 points, yes, more often than we ever would in the NFL, but it ain't like every weekend after they stop playing the first week or two when they're playing higher and lower level teams is SEC teams and Big 12 teams every week putting 70 on each other. The fact that this team gave up 70 points, 9 minutes remaining, you're giving up 18-point leads, you're losing to the Raiders, and all these games were at home. Like, it's just the culture of what Denver is. Sean Payton's doing all this talking, right? Everybody wants to get on Dion about talking. My man 3-1. Sean Payton do all this talking, the man can't get a win and getting 70 hung up on him. So that's the thing. We get on some people. One actually has produced more than what they were expected to do for a full season in the first 3 weeks. One can't get a win at home and is giving up 70 points. So if Sean can't say nothing else for the rest of the year, you talk about Nathaniel Hackett, you've already done worse than Nathaniel Hackett has done when he was there last year. You gave up 70, you 0-3 at the crib. I don't know where else y'all go from here. Y'all went. Of course, you're going to have to win at some point. But good Lord, that's terrible by what Denver's doing and Sean Payton.
70.
What's up, MJ?
We talking about the Broncos?
Yeah, let me put you on game. Yeah. So the question that was asked, the Dolphins clearly hung up that 70 piece on the Broncos, and our question was this more about Miami or was this more about Denver?
I mean, when a team puts up 70, as much as the Broncos are trash, you got to give Miami their respect. Like, they're scheming. Mike McDaniels is doing a hell of a job. Tua is probably an early front runner for MVP. If we're being completely honest, he's been balling right now. So I give him that. Say that
one more time for me,
MJ. Tua is a front runner, an early front runner for MVP. You feel me? So
I asked this question yesterday on Open Field. I was like, Tua is the best. I said it convinced me why I cannot say that Tua is the best quarterback in the league. Convince me why I cannot say that, other than reputation, because he's playing the best. I asked that question.
We gotta see if
I know it's early, but I just that's why I said I was like
based on
what we just seen this season, he's the best.
MJ, what are your thoughts? Was this about?
But I would say with the Broncos though, like, man, I've been saying this before and I'll say it again. Russell Wilson has had a better career as a player than Sean Payton has had as a coach, and all that chatting he was saying about Nathaniel Hackett, I was coming to bite him in the butt, because now, like, Nathaniel Hackett, he did a terrible job, but give up 70 points. Like you was talking all this. I thought you was about to change life in Denver, bro.
Right.
It's about to change life, and it's the same thing. It's probably worse than it was last year at this point. So
it is.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Payne's overrated, bro. That's what I gotta take from it.
I would have kicked the field goal and put up the record on them boys.
I would have put up the record,
man. The record on them.
Go ahead, Bama. What you think?
So I already know what I think based off when we go back to 2-3 years ago where I was in my evaluation of Tua Tagovailoa. Just based off of what we said for his etiquette, I was gonna call him another name, but we'll just say Tua Tagovailoa or Tagvailoa, as our boy Rated R say, Tagvailoa. But as you see, man, he got a coach that believe in him, so now he can be the ball distributor that he once was at Alabama. His team pretty loaded with all the speedsters, as everybody want to say, but he's like the perfect quarterback that can handle a lot of superstar receivers on his team. So as you can see, when he have multitude of weapons, the offense just look that much more potent. And the way he distribute the ball, it allows for other guys like the running backs to also be able to come in and contribute because Tua just gets rid of the ball so fast. So with that being said is he running the offense to a T how you would want it as a coach because he gets rid of the ball so quick. So that leaves room for me as an offensive coach, your A-chains, your Mosters. Them boys can have big games based off of how efficient Tua is with the ball. Mike McDaniel, he's showing it. That's crazy at the ball boy. Like, he used to be ball boy for the Broncos. Literally, he was a ball boy a long time ago.
Now dropping 70.
He hung 70 on him, bro. I think what it is, honestly, with Sean Payton, and I mean, I might be wrong, but sometimes when new coaches come up in there, he didn't get rid of enough people, bro. So his method of coaching might not be that to the ears of the people that's on the team right now, to whereas he would probably have to get rid of some, even though they was like on the verge of, if they scored 14 points, they would have been 11-4 and all that other shit. But at the end of the day, bro, like at this point now, especially for 70, bro, you can't go from, if you only would have scored 14 points, you would have ended up like a second seed or first seed in the playoff, to getting 70 hung on you, bro. That means somewhere in there, bro, like them people just stop playing. It's the NFL, bro. Like, DP, you said this before. We see that in college when UTEP playing Texas and shit. In a league on any given Sunday where anything can happen, where you got the Cardinals beating the shit out of the Cowboys. In a league like that, you let them hang 70 on you. In my head, that just told me, bro, the people on defense, which is the Broncos' best unit, they not buying whatever Sean Payton's selling. Whatever he trying to sell, they don't want his Girl Scout cookies, bro. Like, they was like, nah, bro, we good, bro. Like, and we'll really lose this game bad. So, essentially, some gonna have to give. Either Sean Payton gonna have to clear ship, or I got to go with Mookie. He was a Drew Brees merchant. Seriously. He was a Drew Brees merchant. It's one of the two. It's either he gonna have to clear ship, clear house, and get whoever he need up in there so we can redo this the next year, or bro, he was a Drew Brees merchant. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Bama, I think you hit on the nose. I think Tua really deserves a lot of credit. I mean, realistically, I was just upset because Sean Payton was just doing a media run for the last 2 years, just talking so spicy about everybody else. And so that's what's killing me the most. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, you know what they say, what my boy Travis Hunter say, stand on business. Gotta stand on business, bro. Like, you're not going to be out here talking the way you talk about and I mean, you crushing coaches for what they doing out there. Like, what you said about Nathaniel Hackett's job over there, listen, say what you want about Nathaniel Hackett. He ain't give up 70 points in the game. And literally, it was, the sad part is the coach across the sideline, the organization would not even give an interview to. And he spared y'all by kneeling on fourth down instead of kicking a field goal with grace. You know, that's called killing them with kindness. So all I'm saying is Sean, and also, let's be honest, Sean Payton also, did he go like what? Didn't go like 3 years, but they didn't even go to the playoffs. They go like 8 and 9, 3 years straight with him at the helm. So
I know they had a couple of 9 and 7,
the
7
last
and 9
time,
seasons.
a lot of 9 and 7 seasons. So the last time you've been in the league, your team's been whack, you know. So like our last impression of you as of late, I mean, it ain't been good. And you've been over, and that's the only reason I feel so impassioned about it is because of the amount of talking he was doing. Like, you can't talk the way you talking about everybody else and then go out there and put up the numbers and put out on film what y'all put out. That shit was an absolute, that was an absolute embarrassment. They should be embarrassed. And some people definitely should be considered, you know, their jobs on the line, because that's outrageous. Outrageous. All right. So let's hold on, we got a super chat here. Since G Baby isn't gonna do gridiron tonight, J Rob and Bama, are y'all gonna eventually talk about that generational QB in Duval play?
Bro, relax, bro. Why are y'all so nasty, bro? Like, this is what. All right, let me say this real quick, okay? It's nasty, bro, because I feel like if y'all don't like the QBs, they don't get to go through their course. They don't get to go through their trial and error, right? But if they like the QB, they make up every excuse up under the moon of why that QB is still valid and why he not put in a position to succeed and all of this. Bro, literally, he is just 1 year removed from experiencing the worst possible situation you can for your career as a football. Again, I'm going to tell y'all this. We're going to look back in 25 years and say Urban Meyer literally was the worst NFL coach on the history of the NFL on the face of the planet, bro. That was some semi-pro bullshit he had going on in Jacksonville, bro. Like, he was behaving like a bro, he kicked. All right, bro. 1 year removed from that. The next year, fully don't get weapons, but the situation is better. It's more structure. Can we agree with that with Doug Peterson? And then Doug Peterson, he won that Super Bowl, got moving, Philly kicked him onto the curb. So it's just not like, oh, he just was, you know, this highly sought after coach. Like, nah, he just had a good resume. It wasn't like he was just, you know, hot commodity. Because when they even signed him, I was like, I mean, anything is better than Urban Meyer at this point. You feel me? So year 2, he got new weapons. Week fucking 3, bro. Yes, bro. He was going against a defense. Like, he's not going against CJ Stroud. They was like, oh, bro, he lost to a rookie. Bro, first off, I don't know if y'all been watching football, if y'all been up under a rock. That defense down in Houston was young, and them boys was hungry. All they needed was a few more pieces to add over to that defense, and them boys is really going to give you headaches for years to come. And they got the Nico Ryans, who also had that 49ers defense buzzing over there, bro. So you know he going to have the same mistakes, the same culture, bringing it to them young guns, man. Jalen Peter, Tim, man, we big Will Anderson coming off the edge, bro. Y'all boys is not finna get me with this, bro. So I'm not really tripping off T-Law losing to the Texans, bro, because for us with that defense, they was cooking that. Now, if you want to talk about the Jaguars defense, let CJ Stroud cook like that, you say that's not T-Law unless he was out there free safety talking about some watch trips right. We stacked over that trip. Now, if he was out there on defense pointing out, I feel y'all, bro. But again, me watching football, man, I knew that Texas team, bro, they needed a coach over there that can get them dogs fighting again, bro, because they had some good young talent, picked up a good pass rusher in Will Anderson, bro. And now we really seeing the team. Bro, CJ Stroud, bro, might be the first Ohio State quarterback to really break the mold. Again, I want to say that too, bro. That team really play for that dude. He doing all the right things. I know it's about T-Law right now, but I ain't tripping off T-Law. That defense is really like that, bro. And week 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 down the road, bro, we're going to be right back on the train. I'm going to tell y'all, T-Law is the better version of Justin Herbert.
You know, obviously I think Bama hit a lot of things on the nose. I'm not going to really say too much. I think he answered most of it. I think the only thing I will say is not only that, you know, I think people got to give some of these new coaches, first-year coaches, some credit. Like that head coach over there in Indianapolis, they just beat the Ravens at home. They just beat the Ravens on the road. If you look at Gannon over in Arizona, they just beat the Cowboys, and the other 2 games were very winnable games for Arizona. If you want to be honest, they were in 2 fights. So, you know, these young coaches are coming in and having early success. I mean, Listen, CJ Stroud, and actually that'll lead us to the question. Let me ask the question. CJ Stroud and the Texans dominate the Jaguars. After 3 games, has CJ Stroud took the lead as Offensive Rookie of the Year? We'd love to hear what you guys think of that.
I think so. I think Bijan still has a chance because obviously he's dynamic every time he has the ball in his hands. But to just go back to that game, CJ Stroud was amazing. I mean, maybe Tank Dell might steal some votes from him if you kind of think maybe Tank would take some votes from him because he was great. Obviously, the Texas team was great, but it hurts that we're already 3 games in, and I guess you can say 2 of his main contenders are out already. So if you're already looking and you're having injury concerns about Bryce and AR, like what can you do? I think, to be honest with you, I think right now it's CJ to lose, but Tank could easily take votes from him at the end of the year, or if Bijan start continues, like I know he had a tough game last week against the Lions, but Bijan could make some plays and get back in it. But right now it's Strauss to lose. He's definitely in the lead for me.
100%. I think it's Strauss to lose by a long shot. Bijan's gonna have some problems down the road just because the Falcons gonna get down in games. They're gonna have to throw the ball. That just is what it is. It's gonna be tough on him. Tank Dell and Stroud, they're gonna do their thing in Houston. I think they're gonna be in some dogfight games where they're gonna have to throw to win some games, which that's gonna help pad some stats for both of them. I picked Stroud to be the when we said which rookie quarterback would throw for the most yards or maybe have the best year. I picked Stroud. I was like, it just makes sense. My boy Jay is in at Seattle. He's at Ohio State. So I said, hey, bro. Before he got drafted, I said, hey, bro, Stroud, let me ask you about him. Is he like that, or is he going to be another Ohio State quarterback?
Right.
I said, you know what I mean by Ohio State quarterback. Y'all get in the league, boys, don't do that. He said he's the best by far. He said, I'm not just saying that. He said, dude is really like that. And I think Tank Dell was a dog, too, because he fits this.
Hey, that boy went to Alabama A&M, man. HBCU product for real.
Hey,
yes, sir.
He literally fits this NFL perfect, like being the guy that can make the play, catch the ball, get open, scheme to get them in out in space. The only problem with Tank Dell's MVP as far as rookie is going to be the guy throwing on the ball, right? Usually the quarterback's always going to trump the wide receiver. You have to have a Heisman year like Devontae Smith did over Mac Jones. So usually it always goes, regardless of how good you do as a receiver. If you did that good, usually your quarterback probably did really good as well. So that's just going to hurt Dale's case because it's going to be Stroud throwing on the ball.
Well, I hope you guys understand.
DP, and to say that too, DP, don't forget, even in that year when Smitty had the Heisman-like season, it wasn't until he took that punt back to when they said, "Oh, we'll send him down there instead of Mac," because Mac threw for like 4,300 that year in COVID, bro. And they was trying, like you said, everything to do to give it to the quarterback until they put Devontae back there on punt, and he cribbed that punt versus Mississippi State, I believe. That's when they gave him the Heisman, bro. So DP right on. It's such quarterback driven. I think.
Yeah,
MVPs.
MVPs and Heisman are quarterback driven because usually they're going to be faces of the leagues, college teams, or whatever. So it's right. You can have a running back go for right at 2,000 yards, 25 tubs. Quarterback just have a really good year, like most quarterbacks do, and it's like, but his team because he led the team. So. But no, I think Tank Dell is definitely a dog, though. But I think it has to be Stroud as the front runner by a long shot until he shows that he's going to slow down at any pace because I think it'll get him there with what he's on trajectory to do right now.
Go ahead. I mean, for me, Ben, you want to go? Well, actually, you said it. I'll chime in. I want Random. You and MJ go first. Actually, I want to hear what y'all say. I'll finish it. MJ,
you go first.
I gotta be in my host bag. You know, like this host thing kind of be weird for me because I be wanting to talk. But y'all go. Then I'll come in.
I'll probably say I agree with everybody in terms of. Well, I'm kind of capping. I honestly thought that Bryce Young was about to be better this year, but. That's not about to be the case. I ain't gonna lie to you. That should not about to be the case. Partly injury, but the way that, like, if you can here's the thing with like rookie quarterbacks. If you see like, I feel like if you see like games of brilliance, especially early on, that's a great indication of what they'll do when they have a real solid team around them. So the Texans, they're not going to be good this year. But look, if you have, kind of like the Jets, right, when they got Zach Wilson, and then you get like, next year you get a bunch of first rounders and all that surround the team around you. I really see the Texans next year. I think the Jaguars will run away with this division, even though they did lose. But I'm not really worried about them. But the Texans is coming, bro. But do y'all think Anthony Richardson is better or CJ Stroud is way better? Not way better, but
for me, my QB1 going into the draft personally was CJ Stroud. I think I even said on Gridiron at one point that if I would have picked the first quarterback, I would take CJ over Bryce Young with the first overall pick, just because of I thought that game against Georgia was enough for me to see that this kid, in terms of the height, arm talent, improvisational skills, to me, he had a little bit more upside, I thought, than Bryce Young. Anthony Richardson clearly has the most upside of all three of them, clearly, because obviously he's a absolute freak of nature. But I really feel like CJ Stroud is going to go ahead and win Offensive Rookie of the Year, just because I think quarterbacks automatically get more nods. I mean, even if you look at the Offensive Rookie of the Year race last year, although Garrett Wilson won it, Brock Purdy played 7 games and was a finalist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So quarterbacks easily get the nod for that award. I think the other thing is the reason why I go with CJ Stroud. I had said on Player's Choice on Gridiron literally a few weeks ago, maybe a week ago, that I thought CJ Stroud would throw for 4,000 yards this year, because I don't know how many Texans games people watched this year, but they put the ball in his hand a lot. It reminds me of how the first few years, the start of Joe Burrow's career, I felt like the Bengals kind of threw the whole playbook at him off the rip. We're going to put the ball in here. We're going to give you the ball. You're going to throw it 30, 40 times a game if need be, and that's just what it is. And I think the Texans do the same thing. And I feel like if you have the confidence to put the ball in your young quarterback's hand early, it speaks volumes about the confidence you have with him as a player. If you look at their game against the Texans, he hasn't really had the easiest start to the year. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they played easy competition to start the year, but he did outplay. I mean, obviously there were some drops in the Jaguars game for sure, definitely some drops. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like he didn't outplay Trevor Lawrence in that game. He looked like a franchise quarterback. I think Bijan has a great case to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. However, if they throw for 4,000 yards and are competitive in the AFC South, I think it'll be really hard for you not to take this kid as Offensive Rookie of the Year. And if you look at, he's on pace. In 3 games, he has over 900 passing yards. So he's about to hit a K. So 12 games in 12 games, he could have well over 4,000 or be at the 4,000 yard mark. So I ultimately look at it and say, this kid is transitioning. It's clicking. And for some young players, it clicks early. But I think we also got to give credit to what the Texans coaching staff is doing. DeMeco Ryans is a defensive-minded coach. So he definitely hired a great offensive staff to join him, because his focus is clearly defense. And I got to be real too. The cool thing about them is, they gave up 31 against the Colts and they gave up 17 last night. I think that defense, as young as it is, will continuously get better. I think guys like Derek Stingley and Will Anderson will be cornerstones of that defense over the next 5 to 6 years. And I think the craziest thing about it, I keep saying this, watch out AFC South, because Trevor Lawrence, this division really is not going to be yours to dominate, because CJ Stroud looks like a guy, and I think with the potential of AR, it's going to be a lot. And the thing is, to a lot of you guys, I don't think in the chat, this is not for everybody. I think a lot of people aren't watching Texans games, or they don't have NFL Red Zone, so you're not able to see what Stroud has been doing. But Stroud has been playing some pretty good football, man. Like, there's a reason why to be going into his 4th game and haven't thrown an interception yet as a rookie. To me, it's impressive, because one thing about it, he's shown that he's been able to take care of the football. And I love that he's really shouting this idea about what Ohio State quarterbacks look like, because he's really looking like the prototypical or the NFL franchise mode is looking like what CJ Stroud is. And so I definitely don't want to overreact, but I don't want to underreact too, because what he's doing has been very impressive for a team that is, thought they had hope for a minute when Deshaun came, and obviously that turned into a dumpster fire, how that ended. And so a team that could have really been in the gutter for the next 10 years again, they're going to be competitive for the next 10 years because of this quarterback. So I definitely think it's good. And I think the interception thing matters too, because he does throw the football a lot. He's throwing 30 attempts plus a game. So if you're throwing the ball 30 times and you don't have an interception yet, it's impressive to see. So right now he is my front runner for rookie of the year.
What people don't even realize is more than completion percentage and yards and anything else, it's how often does your quarterback turn over the ball.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You can be a 50% completion percentage guy and be better than a guy that's throwing for 70% completions, as long as your team is getting the fourth down and getting to punt the ball to the other side of the field. Right. Because when you throw those interceptions in that league up there, those turn into points a lot of times. And as long as he continues to protect that ball and he's throwing for yards and he got guys making plays, they're going to be dangerous. I actually stacked him and Tank Dell in my daily fantasy yesterday. People like, when they see my lineup when it comes out at 12, I was like, just watch the game. And
they did 25 points in fantasy. I don't know why they
did what they needed to do for a small amount of money. And I was able to get Justin Jefferson and Keenan Allen. I had a crazy team yesterday because of Stroud and them not putting respect on his name yet.
Yeah.
I think the one thing about the Texans we have to understand is how they have very sneak. I think Bam mentioned a little bit, especially about their defense, but just looking at the offense, I just went through their roster right now. They have very sneaky good talent on there. Plus that, I think they have veterans in the right spot.
I think what are the youngest team in the league? It's either them or the Colts. Them and the Colts are like the youngest two teams in the league.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was that?
My bad. He's good.
Yeah, so I think they also have veterans in the right place. Like, for instance, just having a guy who's been in the league for a while, like Robert Woods, just in that receiving room, just being there talking to him. Getting a guy like Tank Dell, great Paul. Crazy that he tackled me in high school.
Great point.
Like, he tackled me in high school. It was crazy. He just like, no, I'm gonna play corner today. You're not doing nothing. But you have a guy like that. Dalton Schultz in the tight end room. Just got guys around. Even looking at who's there for backing up CJ Stroud with Case Keenum, a guy who's been to the playoffs, a guy who knows how to live the NFL life. So at least the one thing you can say, even though they're the Texans are a young team, though it looks like people in the chat saying the Packers are the youngest team.
I know it's the Colts, Packers, and Texans. I know those are the youngest three. I just didn't know which one was.
But you can see, hopefully, you guys kind of see what I'm going for. They got veterans in the right place to let their young guys flourish, and then obviously, if you have any questions about, especially once you get to that point in the season where, okay, this is where I'm used to stop playing in college, and now these extra games where realistically these are the most important games, having CJ Stroud just turn the case and be like, hey, what did you do? Like, what do I do here? Be able to have somebody there answer these questions. I think, I can say that for me. I was looking down on the Texans this year. I'm like, look, whatever you get from CJ is a bonus, especially if you're going to play your running back. But they could be, you're looking at this team, maybe they could be in the contention for a playoff spot. Right. And they could be way ahead of schedule when you look at the people that they added to the roster.
The thing is too, go ahead, Bama. Go ahead, Bama.
So what I was gonna say is with the Texans, man, and I say this a lot, bro. The Buccaneers going through a similar situation, bro. Again, with being drafted first overall is always an added expectation and pressure there.
Oh yeah,
Newton, Andrew Luck, all those first round quarterbacks. It's like y'all got to do something. The thing is with Bryce Young, bro. Unfortunately, with like quarterbacks like Andrew Luck, AR-15, Cam Newton's, QBs like that, when they go through those growing pains, they are immensely like leagues ahead athletic. So it's like I can hide all of this stuff I need to work on up here. I can kind of hide it a little bit because my athleticism is so league safari, everybody. So it's gonna take a while for the league to catch up to me athletically, even though I'm a rookie. Like they haven't seen this before. Bryce Young ain't got that luxury. So when it rains, it pours. So it's like, bro, until you figure it out up here, because all the magic is in his arm and how he
play the game,
coached the game throughout the course of 60 minutes. CJ Stroud came into a perfect situation to where he's a second overall quarterback, but not only is he a second overall quarterback, he's going into a team to where we know they are work in progress. That's why we gave D'Amico Ryan 6 years instead of 4 on the contract. Because hold on one second.
I think the owners understood. Like, look, we're not trying to do anything crazy right away. That's why they gave him the 6-year contract and all that, just to make sure.
And I mean, and that's why they went and got Will Anderson at the third and traded up to get 3. They're trying to build for a future. And I think you said it best, Random. I think the biggest thing that you said was everything they're getting right now, the production is a bonus. It was a bonus. I don't think they went into the season thinking like, oh shit, we might really be competitive in the division in this thing. Because I think what people got to also remember is CJ is going to just get better with every game. And in DP, I think you would agree with this 100%. It gets scary when it clicks early because then the confidence level rises. You know what I'm saying? Because CJ Stroud, and this is why I say I was so impressed by him. It's the throws he's making within these windows. Like, you know, the NFL windows are so small, and he's throwing these accurate to the hands. Like, the arm talent, you can tell is a little bit God-given. You know, like, there's not a throw in a window he can't make because of that arm talent. And honestly, DP, I know you watch the Elite 11. CJ Stroud came from obscurity. He went to the Elite 11 and absolutely took the whole thing over in an instance and was obviously, now you see what he's become. I'm excited.
That Georgia game was the biggest thing for that man. Confidence,
absolutely.
I feel like went off the charts because you're like, if I can do it at Georgia without my number one running back, number one wide receiver.
I was going to say, especially after Marvin Harrison got hurt.
Right. And then so not only were you down JSN, you went down Marvin Harrison Jr.
Right. And he still balled out of control.
Balled out.
I can do this. Like, I think that was the biggest thing for his confidence because not only that, I think it even made him tougher because he was out. Remember, his big thing was your black quarterback run. And he was running in that Georgia game. And throwing. I think his confidence went off the charts from there.
I agree.
He's been number 2 quarterback forever behind Bryce Young. So I think he still has that extra
chip on his shoulder.
It's SEC and
Big Ten.
So you have different leagues. Now it's like, no, we're under one league now. Let's go mano a mano. So I feel like he's feeling good right now.
Hey, all they gotta do in Houston is get that offensive line intact. Because
that's what makes it even more impressive, though. That's what makes it even more impressive.
Well, they have the most important piece, right? With the left tackle already secured.
Because look, week one was like his bad game. You feel me? When he had a QBR 25 and took 5 sacks, right? I mean, you're up against like the Ravens.
The Ravens, too. That's a hell of an opener.
That's a hard game.
I think Stroud learned a lot about himself and his game, and also the coaching staff on how we can put Stroud in the best positions to be himself, right? And you saw him improve in the Colts game. Yeah, the Colts came back and all that, but like you saw him improve. And then in this Jaguars game, he didn't even get sacked. I'm like, just once they get that offensive line together, bro, it's gonna be scary in the AFC South for sure.
Also, shout out Dameon Pierce. I know he hasn't had the start this season. Yeah, I know he hasn't had the start that I think a lot of people, especially in the Texans, would like. But to have that kind of threat in the backfield, who we saw last year, what he could do, he's just there too. And that fullback who I've never seen a fullback take a kick back before. He just say, "No, I got this. Don't worry about it." It was like the perfect game for the Texans last week on Sunday. It was a perfect game. They were able to just kind of obviously dictate the game, score any which way. It was just perfect. And I know Trent was with some Tank Dell agendas yesterday, which he was totally warranted too.
I think the Texans overall are going to be a fun team to watch, and I think this is a team that we'll be talking about for the next little while because I think they got a good quarterback. And I think one other thing, too, that I forgot to mention before we get to this next topic, free agents are going to want to go there. And I think that's also one of the biggest things because, what is the one thing about them Texas teams? No income tax. Texas and Florida, no income tax. So that's always that's already big incentives. But if you see this team heading in good directions, players that want to win will look at the Texans like, damn, I might be able to really win here. So I feel like watch out for the Texans going into year 2 and 3 because the clock that they're on might be faster than we think. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something I want to think about. Okay, so moving on. Actually, let me get to some of these super chats. I want to make sure these are. We'll get to this one when Bama gets back. Almighty Lambo, want to hear y'all rookie rankings, top 3 in order, and how about them Cowboys? 5 red zone trips, 1 red zone touchdown. If I were to rank the rookies, I'd probably go Puka 1. I mean, how do you not make Puka 1? Puka's had the best numbers. I go Dell 2nd, Zay Flowers 3rd.
I have no arguments with that. We've only had 3 weeks. Puka breaking records. Dell just had a crazy game. Flowers has been pretty consistent through each week. I don't see how we can put it. My boy JSN, he actually has the number 2 separation of all NFL wide receivers in the league. And Gino ain't finding on the ball, so I can't put him up there. You got to get catches, not more than separation. So those 3 guys it's about as easy as it comes right now.
I'd like to give Jordan Addison some love, but he dropped. I think he dropped a big touchdown at the end of the game during that sell-off at the end of that Vikings Chargers game. I cannot wait to talk about that. I know we have mid-offs all the time, but ladies and gentlemen, we saw a sell-off yesterday. They were both trying to lose that game.
Yeah, I'd probably say
they were both trying.
Got to put Jalen Carter up there too. Got to put Jalen Carter up there. Yeah, no, I agree.
But these are just receivers though, just receivers.
Just wideouts.
Just the wideouts.
Just the wideouts. Oh yeah. No, I'll definitely put Jordan Addison. He lit up my team bad.
Oh, Addison too.
Yeah, Addison too. I just wanted to make sure Addison mentioned.
Yeah, Addison too. I forgot about Addison because he's been balling. Bama, you want to finish that last point you was making before you had to go about the Texans?
Yeah, I was just talking about, bro. Hold on. I was just talking about with no expectations, bro. Like normally, like if you in a situation like that with no expectations, especially on offense, bro, unless you just play, with your hair fully down, and you can go out there and see stuff like that. Because I was like, look at it with this instance with Tank Dell. We saw a lot of skinny receivers that was really nice, like their route runners. DP, you watch a lot of football, bro. I'm telling y'all, Stevie Sims, he was just like Tank Dell, cold, bro. But them dudes going to teams like Steelers or somebody that got like these dominant receivers to where, based off politics, they get lost by the wayside. Teams like with the Texans, bro, Tank Dell, he walked into such a beautiful situation. They don't have really nothing over there but Robert Woods, and he at the back end of the desert. So with situations like this, bro, I can go play freely and show these people like I got value, because we all know, DP, really with the skill positions, the only thing that separate, I ain't gonna be that dramatic, but the only thing that separate, let's say somebody like not somebody like OD, like I'll probably say a Jalen Waddle and somebody we don't know about is really opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of guys that could be top 10, top 15 receivers in this league. They just don't get the opportunity to do the politics. Tank Dell, a lot of the guys experienced politics to where he couldn't get that opportunity, but he not experiencing it because of where he came at the time he came. They don't have no receivers. They other drafted receiver tore his ACL, all of that. So it's just like, bro, I like what I'm seeing from the Texans, but just based off of how stars all align for them, and them boys can really go out and ball how they need to. And we're seeing it with CJ right now. And we're going to continue to see it from that team. They young and they ready, man.
Yeah, I like it. Bam. I like it a lot. All right, so moving on. The Vikings are 0-3, and there has been speculation that the Minnesota Vikings could consider just tanking for the year, which means obviously with a move like tanking, why would you have Kirk Cousins as your quarterback? So there's been a speculation that Kirk Cousins would be moved, and a lot of the team that everybody keeps talking about with Kirk Cousins, other than the Vikings, is the New York Jets. Obviously, I have a lot to say about the Jets. I'm going to let y'all go first. What are your thoughts on the move? Should the Vikings move off Kirk Cousins and start tanking for Caleb? Or should the Jets be trying to move heaven and earth to bring in Kirk Cousins? What are your thoughts on this whole situation?
I think both situations need to answer some questions. The fact, remember, J-Rob, when me and Bama had this argument about what the Jets should do after that first game, was that I said, what are you trying to tell your fans? The season just started. And my main thing was like, if you keep Zach Wilson in there, you are telling your fans that you are tanking. He's just not good enough. That's why I said go get a Taylor Heineke. It is not just the fact that he's not good enough. It's the fact that the team also knows there's no juice anymore. Because the minute they see Zach Wilson go out there and they watch a couple series, the defense like, damn, we already been through a whole year of this. We don't need this no more. That's what I'm saying. Even with, I know Taylor Heineke's not the sexiest name, but he brings you juice. He brings you juice and something that the defense can believe in. So if the Jets want to salvage their season for real, because you're at the point where I'm like, if you're going to tank, just go ahead and start doing it. But if not, I know you don't like it, but Kirk Cousins is a markedly way better quarterback than Zach Wilson. He just is. And he doesn't have to do that much. Oh, please, Jet. Like, you're not good enough. You're also saying that the Jets were going to beat the Cowboys. They got waxed. So, like, I think you should go get Kirk Cousins and you just rely on the great weapons that you have. But also, you might have to be like, yo, Nathaniel, go ahead and pack it up too. Nathaniel Hackett, go ahead and pack it up. Go ahead and pack it up for real.
Don't even get me started on that boy.
So that's just me where I'm sitting there like, we've kind of seen that. Go get Kirk Cousins and try to salvage your season. Your team's still good. There's weapons all over the place on the offense. Your defense is nice. Okay, your defense is nice. But also, historically, Zach Wilson struggles against the Patriots. If you want to do that, go get Kirk Cousins or go get Kyler Murray and salvage your season. For the Vikings, you need to have an honest conversation about what you think you are. Let's just say, because I was talking about this with Andrew yesterday. Let's say you make the playoffs. What are you doing? Are you winning the game? Are you winning? Are you winning your first playoff game? I don't think so. You're not going. I don't think you're going to win your division. So you're not going to have a home playoff game, and so you're going to lose. I think you're going to lose. And if you're just in this place, the worst place to be, where you're too good to get a top draft pick, to get a quarterback without paying significant assets to go get it, and you're too bad to make significant deep playoff runs. So they're both at this kind of waypoint. If I'm the Vikings, blow it up. Blow it.
What do y'all think, Miles? DP, should they blow it up so the question? MJ, I know you left. Should they blow it up? Should the Vikings blow it up and tank? And should the Jets go after Kirk Cousins if they decide to do that?
The Vikings, they gotta blow it up, bro. They gotta blow it up. Because it's like what you already reached, how far you can go in the Kirk Cousins era. Like, I feel like everything has to be perfect for you to win with Kirk Cousins. Like, offense, gotta have a running game, and your defense gotta be elite. The times that their defense was good to great, they done beat the Saints. They was always in the playoff hunt, or they always had a playoff run. Now their defense is trash. So it's like, just start over, bro. Because I'd rather just get off somebody early than get off them too late.
Right.
And then now their trade value isn't as high when you have desperate teams in the league that would give a bag, to go ahead and get Kirk Cousins. So it's time to
move on. DP. They say that again, DP? Kind of. Yeah, that's
really good. There's a mic delay.
It's like we came in. It's like I didn't even really came here. Hold on.
It's probably the wrong mic.
Shonen, what do you got for us?
All right. So people know if you see me on here that I think Kirk is a good quarterback. So I praise him more than most people. And this year he's proving to be a really good quarterback. So I'm not surprised. I would say the last 2 years, I don't think they had the team to be as successful. The defense is even worse this year than it is last year. Cornerbacks are bad. Coverage is bad. The only thing they could do against the Chargers is blitz because they can't cover anything. So, and the run game, other than yesterday, has been terrible. So it's really Kirk, Jettis, Addison, and Osborne, and TJ, and it's just a passing game. So, and the offensive line, terrible. Absolutely terrible. So Kirk is a really good quarterback. I do think for the Jets, I don't think their offensive line is great, but I think it's better than the Vikings offensive line. Defense is elite. You got the weapons with Garrett Wilson. You got McCole Hardman being a deep threat. Kirk
that we don't even use. I don't even know why we brought him in.
And then obviously you have Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, his boy from back in the Vikings day. So I think Kirk Cousins with that, Nathaniel Hackett might need to get out of here.
Yeah.
But with that offense,
Pack
he'll
him
be
up.
great. And he's been playing great this season.
DP, what you got for us? Nah. You're good. The first thing I'm gonna say is this, man, because honestly, I really want to pull a Shannon Sharp talking about the Broncos this morning and really snap on the Jets, like snap on them boys. Because I'm not gonna lie, bro. To just answer the first part, I don't want Kirk Cousins in a New York Jets uniform because obviously he's a downgrade from Aaron Rodgers. He's an upgrade from Zach Wilson, but I don't think he leads us to the championship that we're looking for. So, and then obviously to take on the contract, the money, I don't think that's the best move for the Jets. Now, Random, to your point, I do think that game against the Patriots should be the last game that Zach Wilson starts should have been the last game Zach Wilson starts for the New York Jets because without making a change at the quarterback position, we're going to lose. You're going to lose your team. Robert Saleh, you're going to lose your football team because you have too many talented players on a roster that are in these dogfights. And I'm not going to lie, the Jets are going to lose games. The thing is, we're going to be a bad team, but we're going to be a bad team because we're going to be losing teams 17-10, 21-10. Holding teams. We're going to lose a game. We're going to lose a game 10-3 this year because we're going to play great defense and we're going to hold teams, but we will not have the offensive capabilities to score with other opponents. Nathaniel Hackett, somebody needs to either fire him or have a legitimate conversation with his ability to call plays because Zach Wilson is not Aaron Rodgers. Cannot get through progression 1, 2, 3, 4. He can't do that. That's not his game. Because everybody can say the Jets O-line is whack and it's that. You didn't watch us play against the Patriots last night. I watched the game. There was multiple instances where he had a good enough pocket to make a decision, but he cannot get through a progression. That is the difference in the league and in college. You have to get through a progression. Hackett has not made the offense easier to digest for Zach. Zach is athletic. We don't utilize his legs. We don't run the ball nearly enough. So ultimately, there's no way we could look at this team and say, what do we want over the next 3 years? And I'm assuming one of those things should be a Super Bowl. So if you want to win a Super Bowl, there's not a lot of moves you can make right now to bring that in. And you're on the verge of losing your whole team. Because let's be real, this team keep playing games like the way we playing around. Robert Saleh going on the podium and literally lying and saying Zach Wilson gives us our best opportunity to win. No, he does not. Zach Wilson does not give us the best opportunity to win. He has not given us the best opportunity to win for 3 years. And year one, I could say it was a debacle. Year two, I saw no signs of actual progress from his side from the game. And this time you had receivers. You had a few more weapons. You had a Breece Hall. They gave you things to work with. This year in year three, you should have more than enough. You should have more than enough to at least be competitive. And we may be losing the game 15-10, but it's not. It didn't feel like we were going to ever win. It didn't feel like we had a real chance. Like we were maybe optimistic. He had one legitimate drive. He had one legitimate drive that looked good. And I think one thing too, I think Zach was going to be very comfortable this year, sitting behind Aaron Rodgers and just learning. And I think the fact that he tore his ACL, he realized, oh my God, you're about to do this again. He's about to do this again. I could tell he don't look like he really want to be out there. So, and we're going to be on Sunday Night Football this week, getting absolutely dog walked by Patrick Mahomes. Because if we're going to go out there and put this guy back out on the field, the way you've lost your team, it is crazy. And I feel bad for Garrett Wilson because guys like him and Michael Carter, they have to go out there. He has to go out there. You have to go out there and you got to defend this guy to the media when we're all watching the game. So I just find it really hard to look at that situation and feel like if we get Kirk Cousins, it's going to make a difference. We'll have better quarterback play for sure, but I think personally the situation we need to be eyeballing more than anything. The situation we need to be eyeballing more than anything is the Kyler Murray situation over in Arizona, because if you're looking for a franchise level quarterback who can run and throw in today's game, the way the game is molded today, and then also depending on where the Cardinals get their draft picks, if they get the number 1 pick, unless they trade it, I don't think you can take anybody but Caleb Williams, right? So you take a quarterback number 1 overall, I'm assuming you're going to play him, and I don't think Kyler Murray is going to just sit around and wait. So in perspective, I don't know, man. Like,
J-Rob, I got a question for you. So, correct me if I'm wrong.
How will Kyler Murray stay in Arizona with the number 1 pick in the draft? They get the number 1 pick and they don't trade it. He's
gone.
No, he's gone.
That's just the reality. Go ahead.
So, from my understanding, I could be wrong. Of course, you can correct me. But based on Kirk's contract, if it is where I think after this year he can go in free agency, you take him this year, then he goes to free agency, Aaron Rodgers comes back. Wouldn't you be okay with that? Because for me, the Jets roster and the coach don't want to tank. They want to win.
Yeah, of course.
So if you took Kirk Cousins for this year, free agency hits, he goes to free agency, and then Aaron Rodgers comes back, wouldn't that be the best case scenario for your team?
I still think you draft a quarterback, though.
I think you still might. I may still think you draft a quarterback, because how many more years left you got at Aaron Rodgers? And I don't think going to get Kirk Cousins. I just don't see a situation where having Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers on the same roster. Like, I don't see how that works. Like, I can't see a quarterback room with both of them in it.
Well, I got a question though, J-Rob. If
I don't see it. I also, you got to still think the Jets are still they still are trying. They're going to try to still make Aaron Rodgers happy still, even though he's not there. You understand that too? And I don't think Kirk Cousins coming in there is going to make it any easier for him.
Well, I think that's why I said Kirk Cousins after this year.
Yeah, he's expiring. His contract's expiring.
He's gone. So you don't have to worry about the friction between Aaron Rodgers and Kirk. So you just win with Kirk. Go as far as you can, because if my personal opinion, they could beat basically any team in the AFC right now, because even the Chiefs are looking vulnerable with their receiving core being very suspect, and the Dolphins are great, but we saw what the Pats did to them. They are beatable.
We're shown. The thing is that we have to acknowledge too, though, is as good as the roster is, we don't utilize. We're not looking at this team and saying like we don't utilize our roster to the fullest. Like, we got Randall Cobb out there wasting a roster spot because he can't run block. His run blocking is terrible. He's not explosive anymore. He's not quick. So I don't know where he's out there. We bought Mecole Hardman. I haven't seen a deep shot yet to Mecole. We're not utilizing this guy we brought in. So ultimately, I just, I don't know, man. I don't see.
Like, the Jets are in one of the worst spots like that I can remember a team being. So that's why I'm saying, like, the more you keep trotting out Zach Wilson, the more the more you got Robert Saleh like legitimately lying at the end of games in press conferences. Like, you just can't do it. Like, the fact that they even took 2 weeks to figure something out. Like, you should have brought somebody in by now, even if he can't play this week. He should have been in the building. He should have been learning. He should have been learning the offense so they can come in and play. Like, this is you're just wasting something. And I'm also, if they flame out, J-Rob, do you think Saleh survives the season if they flame out?
Robert Saleh will not survive if he don't put out a new quarterback on that field. Because if you go out there and you keep making your team suffer through this, you're losing that locker room. And if Robert Saleh is willing to lose the locker room over, and this is the thing that pisses me off the most, they got to stop coddling this Zach Wilson situation. That's the issue that pisses me off probably the most. Y'all keep coddling this kid, and you're going to get, and Robert, you're going to get fired because if you wait till week 10 to put out a new quarterback, what does it matter? What does it matter now? You understand what I'm saying?
The season's over.
So
the season's over. It's crazy.
That's already over.
Well, I legitimately think you got to at least show that you're willing to keep trying, and you got to trot somebody else out there. The fact that last year when Mike White came in, and the fact that the Jets fans were like, "Please work, just work." You want to know the perfect like situation of how like the Jets fans feel? They showed that freaking clip of that Jets fan cussing out Zach Wilson to the point his teeth fell out. His teeth fell out.
But who's the quarterback after Zach Wilson? Did they get another quarterback?
Well, Mike White left. He went to the Dolphins.
He went to the
Dolphins. So I don't know who the backup quarterback is. J-Rob, do you know who it
The
is?
only person I probably say that could honestly think if they brought in Taylor Heineke, he'd do a better job.
That's what I'm saying.
He
Go
would
get
make
him.
Taylor
It
Heineke-
wouldn't cost you that
You
much.
could put anybody out there. They could put Nathan Peterman out there. They'd have more.
Like at this point, the Jets defense.
Throw my boy Tim. Throw my former teammate, my former college teammate, Tim Boyle. He won us the biggest game in UConn history. We upset number 6 Houston with my boy Tim Boyle. Go put him out there. That's my dog and my former teammate.
At this point, the Jets defense knows okay, we just got off the field on a 3 and out. They don't even sit down on the bench because they know that Zach Wilson about to go 3 now. They're back on the field.
Why do you think the team has so much energy when Mike White came in last year?
So I said that's why I used him last year. Like
they were just happy to get a different look. They were happy to get a pass downfield, And I gotta say one other thing to the chat because this is how I know some of y'all don't know football, but I don't know football. If Patrick Mahomes, if somebody say the copy of Patrick Mahomes is in the draft, are you trading away the first round pick or are you taking Patrick Mahomes?
You're taking Patrick Mahomes. What are you talking
about? That's all I wanted to ask, bro. Some people think this man in here is telling me I'm a coward because I brought up the idea that if the Cardinals get the number 1 pick in the draft, the Cardinals get the number 1 pick, I could see a situation where the Jets will try to go after Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray is out of there. It's irresponsible if you keep him.
But he's under the impression that the Cardinals are going to get the number 1 pick, but Caleb Williams is available, and they're going to trade down for Caleb Williams, the quarterback that has been considered the closest thing to Patrick Mahomes and this generational talent that is going to be a franchise changer.
Block that dude. Block that dude.
No, I don't need to block nobody. I just want you. I just want to say.
You're dumb.
I'm just saying shit. No, I'm saying shit out loud so people can really hear themselves when they think like this. I understand you're in love with Kyler Murray, but it happens, bro. It happens. They drafted Josh Rosen. Y'all drafted Josh Rosen the year after y'all took Kyler Murray with the first overall pick. This shit happens all the time.
He's not good. Like, okay, Kyler's a guy, but look at the potential of Caleb. He's the next one that if everything works out. Nobody in their nobody who does any college football scouting or college football team management turns down Caleb Williams. The only person that does is in Kansas City.
It's not a narrative. Let's listen, bro. If I have to fit a narrative to say the Cardinals would get the number 1 pick in the draft and would trade Kyler Murray if they get the number 1 pick in the draft, if that's a narrative, then everybody in sports media is in with a narrative because every mock draft you look at has the Arizona Cardinals taking who with the number 1 pick in the draft.
Caleb Williams. Well, with that said, no, there's an interesting conversation here though, because right now the Cardinals, in my opinion, have been playing way better than the Bears and the Broncos.
Facts.
The Cardinals might not get the first pick. So let's say they get the top 5 pick, the 5th pick. Mm-hmm. Do you still draft a quarterback with Kyler Murray?
No. That's the thing. No. The fact of the matter is Caleb is that good. That's what I'm trying to make you realize.
Like, I don't understand how you think Caleb
isn't somebody you can.
He's the best quarterback.
Quarterback prospect since T-Law. He's like the best quarterback prospect, Andrew Luck. Like you're not passing that up. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's no way you're passing up that level of talent. But if you have the 5th pick, yeah, you can either trade out of it to get more assets, but also Cardinals may not be the worst team in the league. Like it may not go that way. You know what I'm saying? So I can see.
Yes, he's a better prospect. He's a better prospect than Cam Newton. That's what I think.
He's definitely a better prospect than Cam Newton. Where are we at with the next topic? All right, here we go. Cowboys. Since we're talking on the subject of the Cardinals, actually, the Cowboys lose to the Cardinals in a game that nobody saw coming. Big time upset last night. Did this game reveal any flaws about this Dallas Cowboys team?
The Cardinals were not afraid at all to run towards Micah Parsons. James Conner was a monster. He was just gaping holes all day. It was embarrassing, especially I feel like as a defensive player, because obviously I didn't play defense in college, but as a defensive player, I would be embarrassed by what I saw. Like it felt like obviously that's what shows what a veteran quarterback can do for you. Obviously, he would not, if everything was all right, Josh Dobbs would not be starting. But he's clearly a good enough quarterback to win you a game, especially if the Cowboys. Yeah, he's definitely better than Zach Wilson, and he can show, especially if the Cowboys not up to their snuff. Josh Dobbs, like, okay, y'all just gonna keep giving us this chance. We gonna take it from you if you're not gonna play up to what we think you can be. Arizona was great yesterday, and the fact that the repeated like just lost opportunities that the Cowboys came up with. Like obviously, people bring up the red zone stats. They've been in 5 times. They could only get 1 touchdown. It's crazy. So
yeah. It's for the Cardinals. The offense, like what the Cardinals doing on offense. Honestly, since they did the same thing to Washington Giants, I'm not even too mad. Like we knew the Cowboys won't be shutting everybody out. That's impossible to think at the end of the day, especially considering the only sample size we have them against is terrible O lines and mediocre quarterback play. So with that said, I think one of the things that people have been saying about the Cowboys, I've been saying about the Cowboys, is what is that pass game really? What is Dak Prescott really with Mike McCarthy calling plays? And against this Cardinals defense, we saw not that terrifying. It's not like that for real. And this is a Cardinals defense that's really not that great. So I was never really sold on the passing offense, and to see them fold, especially since Random brought it in the red zone, and they were folding in the red zone against the Giants too and the Jets. So they've been folding in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're seeing if the defense is not carrying you and dominating that pressure,
damn, they killing.
Not looking great.
They killing Dak. They killing Dak.
It happens every year, but this happens every year. And then people get mad at me on my page, wherever I'm here on the Cowboys because I'm an Eagles fan. Bro, this happens every year. They place mediocre quarterbacks, bad teams, wipe them out. But it's always that one game against like a bad team, and they like totally flip the switch. And it was something that Dak did. Well, he said after the game, he said the media has hyped us up to be like this crazy team. Bro, your teammates have been hyping y'all up. DeMarcus Lawrence, he literally said, we're the best defensive team in the world. Micah Parsons said we're the best defensive team in the NFL. People like your own teammates have literally been playing into this narrative that the Cowboys have flipped the switch. They're this new team and all that. So you can't really get mad at the media when y'all have been like perpetuating this narrative this whole entire time. So that's just my number one thing with Dak. Like, he got my last third, and they can't put up, and then they can't. Well, what you said, they can't convert in the red zone on that last play. He throws the ball into triple coverage. Like, what are you looking at, bro?
Yeah,
what are you looking at?
Yeah,
it don't make no sense. That make no sense.
Yeah, but MJ, are you just enjoying this because it's the Cowboys?
I love it. I love it. I love it because their weakness is the run defense. That might be the Eagles' best thing is their rushing. And the fact that they can't convert in the red zone, I mean, I'm loving it. It makes me more confident. The only team I'm scared of is the 49ers. I'm definitely not scared of Cowboys.
So Lambo, just to let you know, they clamped him on as a receiver. Was it Tony Pollard still ran for over 100 yards? So, but the thing was, to give you guys an example, Arizona ran for 222 yards, basically 7.5 yards per carry. They was running up and down the field, and like Joshua Dobbs, he only threw for 189 yards, but he was efficient. Only 4 incompletions. He threw a touchdown. It was like very like that's exactly what you want your backup quarterback to do. Efficient. He doesn't lose you the game. Plus, a few times he was willing to run the ball as well. It was just like the thing that really shocked me was like, okay, where's Micah Parsons at? We run it right at that dude. That's who we running at every single time, and it was crazy.
It was crazy. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we Gucci.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what's wrong. Back. I told everybody on my Instagram yesterday. I'm in Dallas. I've never been a Cowboys fan ever. So, this year I've been online going back and forth. I said, I'm going to do a 30-day free trial of being a Cowboys fan this year. In 3 weeks, I already didn't cancel the subscription. I had to, like, bro, Dak, that doesn't make any sense. The throws that you make in clutch situations, the throws that you don't make in situations like, I was never the biggest Dez Bryant fan as far as when Dak first got there because he was a young quarterback. But at some point, Dak, even with Dez and now CD Lamb, when it was the third down and CD ran the corner, you got to throw that ball to the corner because anyway, the ball is probably going to fall out of bounds. Your guy's going to get it or not. Dak does not believe in my guy is better than the other guy at any point. And those are throws you have to make in the NFL because guys are going to be covered a lot of the time, especially in the red zone, third downs, and he will never make those throws. And then you throw a little lollipop in between three people. Can't do that. There was other throws that almost got picked off. The running game, decent like always. Both running backs did pretty good yesterday. Tony Pollard in 23, I forget his name. But the run defense.
James Conner? Oh, you're talking about for Dallas?
Oh, for Dallas. He had some good runs in there. The run defense for Dallas, trash as can be. Them boys look like Colorado trying to stop the run. I'm like, bro, y'all boys got to be able to stop the run. And it wasn't like we were playing against, the Baltimore Ravens of old with Jamal Anderson back there or Lewis back there or something. Like, bro, this is the Arizona Cardinals that you are a 13-point favorite against. You got to be able to stop that run. You got to be able to get Josh Dobbs off of his spot, make him uncomfortable. He looked comfortable the whole game.
Oh, man. It was great.
So, once again, Dallas being Dallas, Diggs is out. When you do get a stop, they're going to throw it at Bland like they did on third downs to keep the chains moving. Mm-hmm. So, I think Dallas got some soul-searching to do because they got high and mighty. And boys got humbled. And the biggest thing is, and it's not nothing against Micah Parsons. Everybody knows if you have a dominant DN, the biggest thing is run at him and not away from him where he can chase you down.
Yeah. Plus, you got the Patriots this week.
Run at him. Like, that's the
you got to run at him. Send a double team to him. Send a double team to him.
Yeah,
so I agree. That's exactly how you're supposed to do it.
I'm off the Cowboys. I canceled the subscription 21 days in.
Plus, the Dallas got the Patriots this week. You can say a lot of things about the Patriots. Bill Belichick going to scheme up something special.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to have a plan.
He's going to have a plan for y'all.
Shonen, did you go yet?
Yeah, I went. I will say this, though. The conversation behind Mike McCarthy is going to be very interesting by the end of the year because people were hyping it up after the first.
Mike McCarthy over Sean Payton. We'll find out by the end of the year.
But Kellen Moore and what he's doing with the Chargers offense, he's going to get a head coaching job. I
mean, he should have got a head coaching job, bro. I mean, I think Kellen Moore is a great.
I think let the Chargers flame out. They gonna. Hey, it's been real.
It would have lost.
Been real, Staley.
If they would have,
he's getting packed up. If they lost the Vikings, he's getting packed up. Kellen Moore gets the tryout for basically being interim head coach.
Should still get fired for yesterday in that call.
Yeah, I just want you to know, Staley got bailed out. Yeah, he got bailed out, bro. They got bailed out.
Herbert got to make plays.
The minute.
Just watching this, Staley.
That was bad coaching. Yeah, they got to punt. They should have punted the ball there.
The minute he sent the offense back out there.
That was ridiculous. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
The minute they sent the offense back out there, if I'm the owner, I'm like, go ahead, get him out of there. Go ahead, get him out of there.
You ain't even hit the tush push. You hit the regular quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Like, they didn't even do it. Yeah, I don't even understand how, teams not doing the Eagles quarterback sneak. And you got this 6'6" quarterback. My only thing about the Cowboys, I think the glaring flaw to me, I mean, they can't score in the red zone. Mm-hmm. They settle for a lot of field goals, and to me, settling for field goals works in the regular season, but in the playoffs, you got to score touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Seven points is beating 3 every single time, and you go down to the red zone 5 different times, and you only score 1 touchdown, and you settling for kicks. That's a product of your execution offensively. And big ups to the Cardinals. I don't think the Cardinals are as talented they're not as talented as a Dallas Cowboys, but I think they're coached well. I think Gannon is really trying to change a culture there. And, I think they brought in Joshua Dobbs to kind of be like their sinking ship quarterback, but he can play. He can play. It just is what it is. He can play. And Gannon's calling good plays. And so, it's the NFL. You're not going to just – every team is not giving up 70 points. You know what I'm saying? Like, that what happened with the Broncos, that was an anomaly for real. That's crazy.
The Bears almost got 70 dropped on them, too, not going to lie.
Yeah, so I like what they're cooking up in Arizona.
For the T-Swift, too, I know.
And I like the coach.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I like the coach, too. I think he's trying to change some things there, and ultimately, the Cardinals have been in 3 games where they've been actual dogfights. They're not just rolling over for anybody, even if they're not going to be good, So, and that's really a product of the coaching staff. That's the coach making sure your team's going out there with this attitude, like, We're not just going out here to tank. We're going out here to win. So I think that was great to see.
2-1 right now.
Yeah, 100%. The Giants game. The
They
Giants
might
one was
need
the
to
one
be.
I'm
They
like,
probably should be 3-0. Honestly, they
Now,
probably should be.
Who they
Now
have
let's get to it.
Washington.
Yeah. No, I agree. So continuing on, because since we're talking about bad coaching decisions, talking about Brandon Staley just now, Josh McDaniels chose to kick a field goal while the Raiders were down 8 with about 3 minutes left to play. How long does Josh McDaniels last as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders? Before y'all go, I'm gonna just say this one thing. Josh McDaniels needs to stop stealing jobs, and that's all I got to say about that.
You want to talk about somebody solidifying what kind of a merchant he is? It's been solidified. Josh McDaniels is a Brady merchant, completely Brady merchant. But I think we have to understand that in a regular situation, I think Josh McDaniels would have been fired by now, right?
Right.
Remember, the Raiders owner is not the most cash fluid person in the world. He can't make these because he has to legitimately watch his money, because he's not killing it like that. But I think at the end of the season, look, man, you've given him enough time. It's a wrap. It's a wrap for him. You got, and I think it also, I think it's just like you have potentially one of the best receivers in the league. You got a quarterback that admittedly you've had a lot of time with, that you've seen, that a lot of time with, you're very familiar with, and that's what you decide to do. You got that much confidence in your defense when arguably your best player is going on tirades against your organization on Instagram or whatever the hell's going on in Chandler Jones. Like the fact that I think it's gotten this far, that I think any other organization, Josh McDaniels would be done, and he's just going to go back to New England and just live there and retire and take over when Bill Belichick finally retires. That's his future. That's what's going to happen to him. Like it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
He should get no more head coaching jobs.
Bill Belichick will bring him back. He's one of the few people who he's let leave and come back.
He should go. He probably end up going to college. Josh McDaniels be one of them coaches that somebody's always going to pick his ass up. You know what I'm saying? Just because.
Don't know why, but
he's the last straw.
Yeah, he's one of those coaches.
It's crazy considering last year and the year before last year, the Raiders and Derek Carr made the playoffs. Josh McDaniel comes in. And now all the rhetoric behind Derek Carr is he's trash. And then
they did him so dirty, by the way.
He makes him, the Derek Carr, who's been with the organization since the start, they make him the scapegoat for Josh McDaniels. And now we're seeing what he's doing right now with the Raiders. And it's terrible.
Don't forget what he did to
Derek Carr was there. Derek Carr was there for a long time, though, prior to
don't forget what Josh McDaniels did to Darren Waller, too. Like trading him.
That was crazy.
That was crazy as hell.
As much as the NFL is an analytics league now, I was watching that game and I'm like, okay, they were like on the 3, 4, wherever they was, and they kicked the field goal. They was close down there. I'm like, you're down 8. You kick a field goal, you're down 5. But you still need a touchdown. So wouldn't your best option of getting a touchdown to be where you was right then, even if you don't get it, you are now still depending after you kick the ball off for your defense to have to stop them. So wouldn't you want them to stop them closer to the end zone and get good field position again? So none of the things added up of why you would kick a field goal in that situation, especially with the time remaining in the game. It was just a terrible call. Go for it. You don't get it. Hey, defense, even if we kick the field goal, you still need to stop them or we're going to lose the game. And we still need a touchdown. So there was everything that they needed to do. He made the wrong decision on it. So he hasn't been good with the Broncos, the Raiders. My man's probably going to be, after this, a lifetime coordinator or something. I don't think he should ever. Because you got other guys like Kellen Moore that we're talking about should get a job, or Eric Bieniemy. So why should Josh McDaniels get to be trash with the Broncos, trash with the Raiders, and just because he came from the Patriots, go be a coordinator when Bill leaves, go get to be trash with the Patriots? I'm tired of the same guys. And I'm not saying it won't happen because we know the good old boy system. But why should you be on team number 3? You get the trash before other guys get a chance that are actually deserving of a chance.
Yeah. Usually, how many coaches do you see get 3 head coaching opportunities? The recycling of coaches in the NFL level is absolutely disgusting. Sometimes, it's disgusting because we've seen guys get chance after chance after chance to be ass. But Eric Bieniemy got to prove it out there with Sam Howell,
to be able to do this. And I don't
sense.
care. I don't care if people say he coached too hard or if he's too old school. Oh, well, you're a professional athlete. These are pros. You guys are grown ass men who have grown ass responsibility. You understand? Like, I don't want to sit here and I'm not going to sit here and not out here defend Eric Bieniemy because you got Josh McDaniels out there calling plays and Eric Bieniemy can't be a head coach. You got Sean Payton getting more money than he needs to go out there and give up 70 points. And Eric Bieniemy got to call plays with Sam Howell. I'm not trying to hear that. And it's just the recycling of coaches is just getting nasty. It's getting redundant. And it's getting stupid, you know? Let me get somebody super. Go ahead.
What they gonna do is, right, like the Eric Bieniemy point, what they gonna do is look at how Sam Howell and how they got 0 against the Bills and be like, oh, that's an indictment on Bieniemy. Look who he's playing with. And it's just crazy going off what you said. Like, all I've heard with Bieniemy, well, he's had Patrick Mahomes. Well, he's had the whole Chiefs offense.
Right.
You talk about Josh McDaniels. This guy had the greatest of all time.
Right. He had the greatest quarterback to play the game.
Like, come on.
With the greatest coach to ever play the game.
Continuously. This isn't like his first stint as a head coach. Like, mind you, he was a head coach and then opted out of being a head coach to go back to the Patriots. And he still got a job.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's crazy. Let me get to some of these super chats. Yesterday was a prime example of why Parsons isn't the best edge defender yet. He's bad versus the run. I'll take both Garrett and Gary over Parsons. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, one, schematically drink more water. Micah Parsons has never been an edge defender until this season. And if you want to be transparent, he's still a linebacker. They just pass rush with him. He's not an edge defender anyway. So all those players are better than him because that's not his job. Isn't to really. He hasn't been asked to set edges for his job. His job has been asked to rush the football.
I just way bigger than him too. Like the size. That's
the size different.
4-3 and they probably right. 4-6.
Right. You want to talk about Garrett being a great edge? Do you see the respect the Titans was giving him yesterday? He was
running back and forth.
He damn near beat the Titans by himself yesterday. And the fact that they showed that clip, I know you're talking about DP, where he's just walking, trying to pick a spot. He just saw those two tight ends follow him. He could have sat on the bench. Some two tight ends would have sat right next to him. I'm like, that's ultimate respect. I hope we maybe have a chance to talk about that because even for the first time, we saw Deshaun Watson like look good since his return. He looked very good. And the Brown just kind of showing, look, if we figure this thing out, we are a dangerous team. We are a very dangerous team. And Ford is doing his job, which, first of all, thank the Lord that Nick Chubb's injury was a lot less crazy than we thought. Thank the Lord.
Facts. That made me really happy to hear. Actually.
Thank the Lord. I said all that. And the only thing was his MCL.
Just the MCL, bro.
Which is crazy.
They said ACL stretch, but not even a tear.
Yeah, not even a tear. 6 to 8 months to be back.
My mind was blown.
I couldn't believe it.
Thank the Lord, man.
That was literally the best. That was literally the best case scenario. Like,
speaking of injuries, Mike Williams is out for the season.
ACL, yeah.
Well, you drafted a receiver, a rookie receiver that is exactly his build. So,
yeah, that's why you
Quentin Johnson. That's why. Let's see what you got, kiddo. You're up.
I mean, they knew that's always been his big thing with Mike Williams is his injury. So they prepared.
Well, I mean, Keenan Allen's balling this year. He's going absolutely crazy. So
yeah. Last question for the super chat before we get to our next topic: is Russ' legacy in jeopardy? Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
Obviously, he's played a lot better.
Has been in jeopardy.
Yeah, it has. He's played a lot better this season compared to last season, but that's not. We looking for something more than that, especially the way a lot of people were talking about Russ before he left Seattle. We can't just. That's not what we're looking for from you.
Now let's get to this. Let's get to this next one, y'all. Tonight's Monday Night Football matchup between the Buccaneers and the Eagles. What chance do you give Baker and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to pull off the upset? Miles, MJ Johnson.
Look,
we'll start with you first.
Like objectively, like I do think like Baker's going to have like 250 passing yards. Like I do think he's going to pass, but our secondary, we do have James Bradbury coming back. We got Reed Blankenship coming back. I think Bradbury, he had a concussion. Reed had a rib contusion or something like that. So they both back, but yeah, our weakness is the secondary. So I'll give Baker that respect that he'll be able to pass down the field. But I definitely expect Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis to continue lighting it up behind Fletcher Cox, behind Brandon Graham, right? Like behind Josh Sweat. Like that defensive line, I'm picking it against any squad. I'm picking over the Cowboys for sure. Picking over the Cowboys for sure. 49ers, it's like a pick 'em there. Maybe my bias is going there, but I think the telltale this, I think AJ Brown is going to have himself a day. You gotta think the way that the Buccaneers defend the pass, they're 24th in the league, right? Justin Jefferson has gone off. DJ Moore has gone off against them. So I think that AJ Brown was complaining about getting touches. This game, you're gonna get your touches. So if you're a betting man, I would go ahead and put that over on AJ Brown. I think him and Devontae Smith will have them today. And the question was the passing offense for the Eagles. And I think there's a little bit extra motivation because this is the last time the Eagles have been to Tampa since they got embarrassed in 2021 with Tom Brady.
And Tom Brady took him to the woodshed. He said, "I gotta get that."
That's a fact. That's
a
fact.
You don't think Jalen Hurts and them boys would be like, "Yo, like."
That's how we play these boys. They vominated us
2 years ago.
Tom Brady said, "I got to get y'all back for that Super Bowl for real."
Yeah. I think Baker will pass for a lot of yards because they'll be down by a lot and have to catch up. But yeah, I think this will pretty much be a dominant performance.
Random.
I will say 30%. Obviously, I have said some things about Baker. I've been very pleasantly surprised by. I've been very pleasantly surprised about how Baker Mayfield has played, and we've seen that. I think a lot of people expected the Bucs to completely fall off a cliff once Brady left, but we see that there's talent. I know Devin White is questionable for the game. I believe it's something with his quad or his knee. I can't remember exactly, but he's questionable. But I think the game's gonna be a lot closer than I think a lot of people think. The biggest thing is how the passing offense, like MJ said, how the passing offense for the Eagles comes out, because I think it's going to be I expect it to be close, and then the Eagles pull away. And ironically, I think it's going to end up like the way they start pulling away is Baker Mayfield throws a dumb pick, and then I got to come in here tomorrow and start defending him and how he's played. But the Buccaneers put up a really good fight, and then the Eagles pull away late because the Eagles are just the better team, and they'll wear them down because the Eagles have no qualms about running the ball 5 times in a row if that's what they need to do to keep the ball moving downfield. So 30% for the Bucs to pull off the upset.
DP.
I don't have an exact percentage, but if we had to, I'd go 20 to 30%, somewhere in there, right? It's like a 6-point spread, so it isn't like it's the 13-point spread the Cowboys had yesterday. I think the whole game comes down to how fast does either team start. If the Bucs can get up 7 early, let's say they score on their first drive, stop the Eagles on their first drive. Remember, they're playing with their hair down. But Baker's also playing in that same time for that contract in his life. Mike Evans is as well. Mike Evans and Baker have found a good connection this year. So I think if those two can stay connected and they can start fast, they will be in the game till the end of the game. But don't let the Eagles get up 7, get a stop, get a field goal or something, go up 10 to 14, and then it's going to go downhill fast. But if the Bucs can start fast, they have a chance just because they are really confident right now. They're at home, and the Eagles are playing good, but they're still coming off that Super Bowl slump. So if you can kind of catch them, right, they're still, Hurts and A.J. Brown is not a big deal, but remember, where there's smoke, there's fire. So that's when you start seeing quarterbacks be like, oh, they have a bad pass defense. Let me throw it over there, and then it's a pick, and then it's like – so there's some opportunity for them to kind of capitalize with them playing good and the Eagles trying to get back on track from what they were doing last year.
I like it. Shonen.
So, I mean, I like all the percentages that people are putting out, 30, 33%. I think this is a very interesting game because of the matchup specifically. Well, we got a situation where the Eagles really will have to show us who they are, because now that we see Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen just doing amazing jobs and the Eagles kind of struggling a little bit. Like they're winning, but not like they used to. It begs a little bit of a question. And when it comes to the Buccaneers versus the Eagles, we know they have a good rush defense, but that pass defense is suspect. So they're not gonna the whole running with DeAndre Swift and Jalen Hurts. Now it's time to sling that ball. Now we got to see, is that pass game cooked or is it really there? And this is the perfect opportunity to see that. And as for Baker Mayfield, the offensive line for the Buccaneers is really good, but the Eagles' defensive line is also really good. So once they put that pressure on Baker, will he be as good as he has been against the two terrible defensive rushes with the Bears and the Vikings? Like their defensive line rushes were terrible. So this will be a good test for both Baker and Hurts, but I think Hurts should pull it off because I have more faith in him, and the Eagles have a better roster.
I'm gonna be honest. I give the Buccaneers I think this is a pick'em game, like right down the middle. MJ, I know you don't want to hear that, but I'm gonna just be real with you. The Buccaneers are a better team than people give them credit for. Sean, I think you hit it on the nose about the O-line. The Buccaneers have a good O-line, and not only have a good O-line, they got good pass catchers around Baker. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, they're as good of a duo as you can ask for in the NFL. You got two consistent guys who can. One guy is a great slot, and then you got a 6'5" X receiver that, since he's been in the league, no matter where you rank him, he just does his job. He just does his job. And I could understand they put James Bradbury as the nickel corner against Chris Godwin, but I actually think that's a mismatch for James Bradbury. I think Chris Godwin is going to eat up that opportunity. I like James Bradbury, but I think he's a better outside corner than he is an inside corner, 100%. It is not easy to play nickel. That is why some corners in the league are paid to play nickel and nickel only. That is why CJ Chauncey Gardner got a bag from Detroit to be that nickel, that 50B, always in the game, move around, because that nickel position is important, especially in today's game, the way the game is spread out. I'm excited to see. I hope Lambo, but I think Eli Ricks should be the other corner now because Maddox is hurt. I don't know who'll be out there at the other corner. I think if Baker continues to show, if Baker Mayfield can continue to go out there and make the plays he's made so far and play within himself, there's a good chance this game could go either way because the Buccaneers don't have a rollover defense either. You know what I'm saying? They still got Levante David, they still got Vita Vea. There's still guys on that defense who's still rocking. I think because this is the post-Brady era, people feel like the Buccaneers have been washed. But the only real thing that happened has been the drastic shift of the Buccaneers over the last 3-4 years is just the quarterback position. And if Baker can go into this role and continue to make plays, especially in the NFC, like I said before, like I wouldn't lose sleep if I was the Buccaneers thinking I couldn't compete against the Falcons or the Saints to win that division. And if Baker Mayfield can continue to do what he's doing, this will be a great test for him. And I think this game, a Monday Night Football game, big implications. If he can go out there and they can win this game, watch out for the Buccaneers this year, because I think that'll be the confidence. That'll be the ultimate confidence booster for that team. And I also think not only would it be a confidence booster, you know, a certain win can propel you momentum-wise the rest of the year. I think for the Buccaneers, this could be that game. And then looking at the other Monday night game, because I forgot there's 2 Monday night games on.
I don't like it.
The Rams take on the Bengals. I'm going to say it right now, my prediction, I think the Bengals go down 0-3. I'm giving the Rams the edge tonight.
Burrow is literally a game time decision. He's a
I just personally think they need to let him sit. I think the biggest mistake they made was making him play from the start of the year.
But here's the thing.
He wasn't ready since the beginning.
How y'all feel about them? I feel like we all know Burrow is not 100% healthy.
No, he's not.
Y'all risking like Joe Burrow right now.
I wouldn't.
Y'all could end up getting again, cross fingers. Don't want this to happen at all. But if his calf is already injured, he's more prone to have. So y'all risking him playing now. You might end up messing up next season. Just chill. It might not be a year this year. Just chill.
Yeah, I would sit him.
It's
This might not be a year. I would sit him till he's healthy. I mean, it just don't make sense.
Who's the
Browning?
You signed him to a contract. You signed him to this contract for the next 5 years, not for 1 year. You know what I'm saying? No. So I would have rather them sit him, start off the year 0-2, and then he's going into this game against the Rams healthy.
Remember, Jamar Chase actually called for him to sit for the first 4 or 5
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Times. He said it, and they're like, "Are you for real?" He said, "Yes." If it's Cal, he said, "I want him to come back week 5, and we'll figure out the rest of the season."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's good enough where they can stack games.
And also organizationally, it just makes the perfect sense to do that. And if I think at the end of the season, let's just say they don't make the playoffs, but if you're like, look, I'd rather us miss the playoffs and Joe Burrow be healthy than us miss the playoffs because Joe Burrow got hurt, and especially if it's a season-ending injury like that, because that's what I'm scared of. Especially just seeing what happened to Aaron Rodgers on Monday night, the first Monday night of the season, hell no. Nah. Burrow, you sitting down till we figure this out for real.
Yeah, and honestly, the Bengals, if they would have sat Joe Burrow out, they honestly could have won both games, if we're being honest, because all Joe Burrow was doing because of his calf injury is checkdowns. Like, he could not throw it down the field at all. So that was never a word because he couldn't. There was something wrong with his mechanics because of his calf. So even having Browning there, if you want to still do the checkdowns, you probably would have the same chance as you did with Burrow with a calf injury. So they definitely made a mistake. And if he plays today, that would be crazy. I'm not gonna lie. It would be pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think they're doing him a disservice by making him play out there. And sometimes, you got to save a player from himself too. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like I always say, the biggest thing the Dolphins did last year, the biggest incompetence to me by them was making Tua play the week after that concussion. I was like, that's incompetence. Sometimes somebody, listen, I played football, bro. Like, I've been hurt and I've been like, I'll play though. And I know I probably shouldn't. Like, I played the start of my redshirt freshman year in college pretty much with a broken hand. I played with a club on. Like, it was what it was. Like, people are willing to do those things, but this is the legitimate. This is your future, literally your future. So I think that's something you got to consider.
That defense. Look for Matthew Stafford. He obviously came out the game.
Yeah.
He came out the
Puka and Tutu, baby.
They got the number 3, I think, passing offense in football, and the Bengals' pass defense is not that good. Watch Matthew Stafford throw a party on that defense.
They got something cooking. The Rams are another team. If they win tonight, even though it's 0-2 Bengals, it's still
the Bengals,
right? Mm-hmm. And the Rams are in the exact same situation I believe the Bucs to be in. Mm-hmm. If we can get this win tonight, we're gonna go back and say, "Hey, fellas, that's the mighty Bengals." I don't care if their quarterback is limping. I don't care if Joe Burrow don't even play. Right? You psych yourself up in ball to say that's the team everybody was saying that should be in the Super Bowl if it ain't the Chiefs in the Super Bowl on the AFC side. Just like the Eagles game. If we can beat the Super Bowl runner-ups for the Bucs, hey, fellas, if we can beat them, we can beat anybody.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing is if Matthew Stafford and them win tonight, them boys are going to be rocking and rolling. Now, do I think they beat the 49ers? No.
I'll give them a chance to be competitive, though.
Yeah, no.
Which they were when they played last week.
They were. They definitely were. Lost by 7.
Right? Because every team that has a bad year, that has a good year, it's all about starting fast, right? If you were bad the year before, you don't go then like 1-3 and then all of a sudden get 10. You start like 7-0, right? And then you might lose a couple and everything. So right now, it's that confidence boost. Whereas some teams are the Eagles are thinking about the Super Bowl, regardless of what they do or say. They're thinking about the Super Bowl because they just
for sure.
So the Rams are literally in that moment of where they're at as an organization. They're trying to be 1-0 every week.
Facts.
So
plus, I think we should be looking.
They're really concentrating every week to win because they know they got to stack them.
Facts.
Plus, I think we should be looking for an Aaron Donald breakout game. A lot of people have been speaking bad on his name. That since the offensive line is not good, and do not let Joe Burrow start scrambling with that messed up calf, and Aaron Donald is chasing him. It's a wrap. It is
the Rams. The Rams, honestly, I agree so much with what you're saying regarding the Rams and Matthew Stafford. And they were very competitive against the 49ers. They smacked the Seahawks when they played. And moving forward, we know with this team that Cooper Kupp is going to come back. And when Kupp is here, Puka and Tutu because Van Jefferson is not it. They got rid of Cam Akers because Kyron Williams is actually kind of nice.
Good.
So it's like they're cooking something like we will be competitive with any team in the NFC. And obviously the big challenge will be the 49ers and the Eagles if they get everything together.
They got the Eagles in 2 weeks at home.
Well, that's going to be a big game for.
So they play the Colts next week, and then they got the Eagles, and then they got the Eagles, and then the Cardinals.
Home in the chat. Be cool.
I don't know. Kirk diced up your off defense, so Matthew Stafford got to do it.
Hey, the weapon sold Kirk in that game. They sold Kirk in that game.
I mean, I like what the Rams are doing. I mean, their schedule is kind of tough. I'm not gonna lie. Like after Cincinnati, they got to go at Colts. At Colts, home against Philly. They play home against Arizona, Pitt, Dallas, Green Bay. I mean, they're going to be a good team. I mean, I'm excited to see what they're doing, but I will say tonight I'm probably taking
Cleveland and Baltimore back to back. Oh hell!
You know what? Just because I would love to just go into Wednesday's show 2-0. I'm going to take the Buccaneers, and I'm going to take the Buccaneers, and I'm going to take the Rams tonight. Just to see, because I'm gonna come up here feeling myself when I pick that right. So I'm gonna go Buccaneers. And this is nothing against the Eagles. Right now I'm kind of leaning Cowboys for the Super Bowl at the NFC. I started the year thinking more Eagles. They were my team to come in to start the year. But now watching the Cowboys red zone offense, I'm still swayed. The NFC, I just don't know. I know for the AFC, I know where I stand right now. I think it is Ravens and Miami. I think those are my two favorites. Miami is going crazy.
Keep on disrespecting the Chiefs. They coming back.
I'm not disrespecting the Chiefs. I know the Chiefs.
They play the Bears, man. The Bears off the field and off the field.
I'm not trying to carry.
No. The Broncos are a better team than the Bears. Even with all their mad.
Yes, they are.
And the reason why I like the Ravens, even though they lost, I'm gonna tell you who's currently injured on the Ravens roster right now.
They did have 7 starters, right?
The left tackle out, offensive guard out, starting center out, Rashad Bateman out, Odell Beckham Jr. out, J.K. Dobbins out, and Gus Edwards is currently injured. And then on the defensive end, Humphrey out, Mullen out, David Jabo hurt, Tyus Bowser hurt. So I think the thing that's scary about the Ravens, they're going to still win games and they won't be fully healthy. Yeah, so once you get healthy towards the back end of the year, you get healthy. Yeah. You're missing 7 starters. You get healthy on that back end of the year, and you're still winning games. It could get ugly because one of the things about the football season is how many teams we see start up the year hot as hell and they completely fall off on the tail end. It's one because the season is long. The season is long, and 2, you kind of peep. Everybody gets hot late. Like the Bengals on their Super Bowl run, they got hot late. Defense figured out everything clear late. This is the last super chat before we get out of here. Everyone's Super Bowl predictions as of today, no bias. If I had to pick right now for myself, 2 teams, I'm gonna go Ravens Eagles. Fuck. I don't know. Ravens Eagles as of today.
I'm gonna go 49ers Chiefs.
Niners out of the NFC for me. Brock Purdy ain't lost. Them boys looking good. They're doing what they need to do across the board. So I think NFC is the Niners and Eagles, and I'm edging the Niners a little bit right now till the Cowboys pick themselves back up. And then I'm probably going to go Chiefs and then right over the Ravens just because you got to beat Patrick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you.
You got to go through Patrick.
No, I got you. Yeah,
I would like to see Miami also enter that conversation for you, DP. But once it's the end of the season, the weather changes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Miami when it get cold out, we got to see them boys play.
Hey, them 6 fastest guys ain't running so fast.
Yeah.
Don't let. All I'm saying is don't let Miami get home field advantage.
It'll
be November. You dying in the heat in November and in December.
And Thanksgiving games when we played Missouri at Arrowhead and it was negative 10 degrees on the field, wind chill, negative 17. I remember them games at Arrowhead.
It's going to be interesting. Terrible, all right, for my prediction, I'm going to similar 49ers. They're a bad matchup against the Cowboys, and the Eagles kind of looking suspect, so we'll see what happens. And then the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs have an elite defense this year. I'm going to be honest. I think their defense is elite this year.
Elite.
And elite is crazy. Once they get their wide receiving core situated with the run game being good, Like they said.
You're
They just gotta get
saying the Chiefs defense on the same.
I like the Chiefs, though. I
49ers?
feel like y'all right though about the Chiefs. You always got to pick the Chiefs. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It is the Chiefs.
I think the
Reggie-
Chiefs have a top 10 defense.
I don't know. I don't know.
as
But
the
hold on,
49ers?
Random. Hold on, Random. I want to get MJ's answer first. I want to make sure we get these answers.
Yeah, I would
My
say.
bad.
I know it said no bias. I mean, I really do believe
No, that's not biased.
going to get out like the NFC. I think it's going to be the biggest threat is the 49ers. Like that's the one team I'm legitimately scared for. Like legitimately, like Cowboys. Like I promise I'm not scared for. 49ers, I really am scared for.
Yeah.
AFC side, when we originally had our Super Bowl picks, it was Ravens, Eagles. I'll be honest, I was kind of banking Ravens because I love Lamar. I want to get over the hump, but like I'm being realistic. It's the Chiefs.
It's hard, Chiefs. Yeah, it's hard to pick against the Chiefs.
Like, for real.
It's the Chiefs until somebody legitimately.
Yeah, at the end of the day, literally, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to all acknowledge the fact. This will be the last thing we say before we go, chat. The Chiefs, for the last 5 years, to get to the Super Bowl, you've had to beat Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? So, ask Joe Burrow and Tom Brady where they've had to play at in order to get to the Super Bowl. They've had to go to Arrowhead, and you had to go to Arrowhead in January.
Cold as hell.
So I just feel like I'm definitely
crazy.
I definitely understand it has definitely been the Kansas City Invitational in the AFC. So
also, Juwan Taylor, do not put that boy back on the field.
Hold on, let DP go.
Oh my bad. Last thing I'll say is the league should be very, very mad at the Bears because it gave those receivers a chance to get in rhythm and get confidence. They actually, it was easy, but there were some good catches made, some great routes. Boys, the receivers played physical. They played tough. Kelsey's back. That was the worst thing that could have happened for the league is those guys was like, bro, we can make plays, and if we get wide open, we score touchdowns. Like, that was the worst thing for the league is that they got confidence, some rhythm, and on the same page.
Man, Rasheed Rice is coming on his own.
All right, chat. Hey, that's a great point.
Juwan Taylor better learn how to line up for real. Get that boy off the field till he figures that out.